I really hope that's even. You good? Alright. What's good, y'all? My name is Koi Latte, and today we're going to be talking about my experience going to a predominantly white institution as a black woman. So, I'll first start talking about why I decided to go to the University of Maryland College Park. So I grew up in an all-black neighborhood in Fort Washington, Maryland, and I went to this high school that was also pretty much all black. I would, in my mind, say it was pretty low income. It was like textbooks beat up, missing covers, the desks are all like damaged type thing. Teachers didn't care too much about the students, and it was a bit prison-like with like in-school suspension type thing. By no means was it that I felt like I was like in danger in those kind of ways, but it wasn't the best learning environment, we'll say. But I came out salutatorian, which is pretty much the person under the valedictorian, and there were two salutatorians in my year, fun fact. So yes, graduated class of 2016. Wow, 4 years ago. And now I'm deciding on which college to go to. I didn't really know a whole lot about college. I just knew that I needed to go to college. So I applied to George Mason University and the University of Maryland College Park. Only two schools I applied to, and I got into both of them. And I of course chose the University of Maryland, really because my dad wanted me to go, and also it was just closer. It's about a 45-minute drive from my house compared to hours going to school at George Mason. So yes, I decided to go to a predominantly white institution, or PWI, because I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. I felt that if I were to go to a HBCU, or a historically black college university, that I would not be venturing, out. Growing up pretty much just around all black people, I only had one experience with people outside my race at this conference in 10th grade, and yeah, I knew like the workforce or what I was going to do in like real life was not going to be replicated by like my experience at a HBCU. So yeah, I decided to go to University of Maryland, and I'm going to say that I don't really have a regret in that decision. I started college in fall 2016. So this is during the election year. Yes. And this, I feel, shaped a lot of my perspective the following years. I felt like I was starting to get used to being around different people, and just people of like a lot of different races and a lot of different cultures. But I was not really ready to be around people who had different worldviews. And with the tensions that were on campus, and the political climate in America in general, I became very averse to certain personalities. And I feel with that, naturally, being a black woman on campus, you kind of naturally gravitate towards other black people because that's what I was used to. But then the thing with that was so all my friends and my dorm and stuff are, well, I'll say African American. So I identify as Black American because I do not know my African heritage, whereas I have friends who are first, second generation, and they're black and stuff, but they know their African heritage. So yeah, I could not connect fully with them, and they could have stuff that they related to, and some stuff that they could relate to just with being black in America. But yes, I didn't have other friends that were came from the same type of situation as me. So that was another level or layer of isolation. I will say, and I said this in my last video, I think your college experience is what you make it to be. And with that, so in my sophomore year, I joined this program called Common Ground, and to which I was a peer dialogue leader, and I would pretty much host facilitate conversations on really hot button topics, so abortion, gun rights, affirmative action, and all this good stuff. And I would facilitate conversations of people with different perspectives. I would these would be the resident assistants or the RAs. I know they call them different things on different campuses. And so I facilitate these conversations, and we couldn't show our opinions during it. We were supposed to be neutral during that whole conversation. And you would imagine things would get pretty heated with these topics regarding a lot of people's political views. However, I felt through this experience, I was able to develop this sort of armor, I'm gonna call it armor, because I was not as easily phased, I'll say, by like certain things that people would say, even like really bad things that people would say. So I later ended up becoming what is called a multicultural advocate, which is kind of like a position up, I guess you could say, from the peer dialogue leader. And through this multicultural advocate or MA position, I created like programs and hosted presentations for the RAs and other staff members on diversity and inclusion, and the goal was to just make the campus community people in the campus community feel like they are a part of the campus community. For this position, I worked under residential life. I helped pilot the program, me and 2 other MAs and then our supervisor, and yeah, it developed into something like pretty good. And I felt that this experience was, again, allowed me to not control my reactions, but understand like my reactions and where they were coming from, because I have my opinions stuff based on like how I grew up and also the education that I've been able to receive on certain topics. I'm a psychology major and I have a certificate in African American Studies, so certain things I'm not gonna say I know more about, but I have learned more about and been in an environment where I could have certain conversations. Other people don't have that experience whatsoever, and it's pretty sad. I feel it should be required to a certain extent, but yeah, I realized that other people just don't come from the same position that I'm in, and I have this willingness to understand that I could be wrong in like what I think, not necessarily in my values per se, but with certain like opinions I have. And I feel when you go into a situation with the idea that you could possibly be wrong, you're more likely to hear what other people have to say. And even if you come out of that situation like, okay, that just, from what you said, I'm probably like more right than what I thought I was in the beginning, or something like that, then that's how it has to be. You know, you're not going to be able to change everybody's mind, but it's good to let your perspective be heard and to hear other people's perspective. I really do like knowing where people are coming from, and sometimes it don't make sense, and I can't really do anything about that. All I can do is try and educate. So yes, a little bit about the social life. So I was very shy freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year, but I progressively became more open and I started to get more involved on campus. Again, your experience is what you make it to be. So I would, like freshman and sophomore year, just want people to come to me, and so I could feel like more included on campus or whatever. But when junior year and senior year, when I started going out more and trying to get to know people and just get out of my comfort zone and stop being like shy, I had this thing where I just thought people weren't going to be like really interested in me. And after the election, I especially was not trying to get to know people after the 2016 election, I definitely was not trying to get to know people that didn't have different like opinions of me. But as I, progressed throughout my years, I started to become open to like different people and different experiences, so I could have a diverse collection of people to go to and stuff. And while I still say like my core friends are Black still, of course, I feel like I have developed a lot of relationships with people who do not look or necessarily think like me. So that's been pretty cool. So yes, go out there, join a club if you're thinking about going to college, or if you're already in college. Even if like you should join something or join a job or something where you can like develop like that community for you. Go to like events and stuff like that, and don't be afraid to go to events by yourself. That's something I had to learn, especially with how shy I was. Like, it'll get to a point if my friends didn't invite me, then I just wasn't going out somewhere. So you have to open those paths for yourself, and you have to realize that you have a lot more control than you think, and you can't just expect things to like come to you. Sometimes you have to make those opportunities happen. So be able to go to those social, like a cookout or something, by yourself. And if you see like, one person that you know from class, say hi to them. How are you doing? I don't know how to start conversation. It's something I'm still working on. But yeah, just little things like that have built my confidence up over, the past couple years. And yeah, one thing I lacked on was being able to network and do that in a professional realm, which I actually probably would be more comfortable in, because I do like talking about career path related stuff, as you'll see from the channel. But yeah, that's a little overview of my experience going to a predominantly white institution as a Black woman. I don't have any like crazy stories about racism. I did experience a lot of microaggressions and a lot of moments where I wanted to pop off. I didn't. I held it in. Rose my blood pressure a bit. And I'll say one thing I probably do regret is when people would say some like messed up stuff and I didn't react in the way that I wanted to. I didn't react in I didn't pop off on them, but I also feel like I held my tongue back a little more than I should. So finding a balance between that when you're undergoing certain situations and you're in a new environment is like the most optimal way to handle that situation. So yes, that's the end of my video. Thank you for watching about my experiences. I hope this benefited you in some type of way. Hope you're doing well, hope you're taking care of yourself, and I hope you have a great day.